Hey guys, I've been seeing a trend on YouTube. I don't know if it's just now I've been noticing it or what the reason is, but a lot of people have been doing videos or have already done videos, and I just now have been getting around to seeing them, where they kind of show everyone their video game collections and what games they like and blah 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 blah. And I figured, you know what, I'm going to try my hand at this, so I'm going to sit down here since I have a top 5 video that I'm still working on. I figured I'd sit down and, you know what, I'm going to show you guys my PS1 collection, as I have quite a lot of PS1 reviews that I've already done. So starting off, I want to talk about the digital versions that I have off of the PlayStation Network, the PS1 classics. I have 7 games that I've purchased, and most of them you'll notice as I've done reviews on them. Metal Gear Solid, fun game, not my cup of tea. I can see why it's got a fan base, but I didn't much care for it. There's Wild Arms, which has great atmosphere. I love the western feel of it, but it's kind of mediocre in everywhere in all the other departments of an RPG. I have Final Fantasy VII, obviously. Final Fantasy Tactics. Again, if you've seen my review, you know why I repurchased it. I have Spyro the Dragon, the first one, Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, which is my favorite of the trilogy, and Spyro 3, Year of the Dragon. So I've played all of those. I like the Spyro series. I grew up playing some of it, and I like it. But with the PSN and PS1 classics out of the way, let's move on to my actual physical copies. First off, we have Final Fantasy Tactics. I got this for Christmas many years ago. Since if you've seen my review, you know I don't have the disc. I think I let a friend borrow it. It got horribly scratched up, and I just let him keep it. I don't know why. But I'm glad that I purchased it off of the PSN and gave me a second chance to play it. Not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it's not that bad. Moving on, we have Final Fantasy Origins. By the time this game came out, this collection came out, I was kind of into the older Final Fantasy thing. I had played 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, I think. Yeah. And I was curious to see what the first Final Fantasies were like. And I'm glad I did. Final Fantasy 1's one of my favorites. 2 is just a pain in the butt. Moving on. Around the same time, several years ago, I wanted to play the older remakes or ports of the older Final Fantasy, so I got Final Fantasy Chronicles. It comes with Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger. Final Fantasy IV is, again, not in my top 5 favorite Final Fantasies, but it is a very good RPG and I like the story. Chrono Trigger, on the other hand, is one of those games that everybody seems to love, and I don't know why. It's a mediocre RPG in my opinion. It held my interest, but I kind of had to force myself to finish it. I liked some aspects of it, I didn't like other aspects of it, but I think for what it's worth, it deserves its praise, but I didn't care for it too much. Like I said, around the same time I wanted to play the earlier Final Fantasies, I got Final Fantasy Anthology, which comes with Final Fantasy 5 and 6. Again, 5, I surprisingly enjoyed 5 quite a lot. A lot more than 6, actually, and 6 is one of those games where a lot of people online argue about it's better than 7 or 7's better than 6, and it's always like 6 comes up as being so close to 7 in terms of, you know, the split between gamers and fans of the series, and I didn't care for 6. I didn't like all the characters. Their stories really, with the exception of a few, really weren't fleshed out, and I feel that they were just useless baggage. Moving on, of course, Final Fantasy VII. I love this game. I'm glad that I've kept this game in such good condition, and I'm even more happy that I have the digital version, because this is my favorite game, ergo why I did a massive walkthrough for it. I don't have anything else to say on that. It's an awesome game. It's my favorite Final Fantasy. As I mentioned earlier, I was into playing older Final Fantasies, but I had never gotten around to actually owning and playing all the way through Final Fantasy VIII, so I got that around the same time. I don't like the gameplay. It's too much of a tutorial, too much thinking, too much having to understand how the things work and understand how things junction together. It provides an interesting story and experience, but besides the story and the characters, I really didn't care for 8. It's not a bad Final Fantasy, but it's not in my top 5. Then we come to Final Fantasy 9. I got this when I got my PS1 for my 12th birthday. It's the first Final Fantasy I ever played, and as you can see, it's gone through some rough times. And surprisingly, as scratched as the discs are, there really aren't any glitches except for the ending credits. But I did purchase a brand new copy, the Greatest Hits version, because my copy's so broken and beaten up that even though it still runs, I would like to have a pristine condition with this game. In fact, I've bought 2 other copies of this, one for a friend and one for my brother. And I'm glad that you can still get this relatively cheap, unlike other games that go up in price. A couple years ago, I wanted to play another game I played as a teenager that I got almost to the end of the game, and then I ended up deleting my save for whatever reason. I think I got stuck, or I had to return the game to one of my friends, and that is The Legend of Dragoon. Very good game. It is actually my 3rd favorite game of all time for the PlayStation, and I'm very glad that I got my hands on it and was able to finish it finally. It's one of my favorite RPGs. More recently, in fact within the last month or several weeks, I actually purchased a used copy of Brave Fencer Musashi. It even comes with the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc. That's cool that it comes with that. I don't like buying used things, and I only own this and another used game because of it. I don't trust people with handling their games because you never know if it's going to work. So I'm very glad that I got this for such a decent price and the condition that it's in. I'm still playing it, so with other things going on, it's taken me a while to get through it, but I'm liking it so far. It's relatively interesting. A year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, I wanted to kind of complete a collection of Inuyasha games since it's one of my favorite animes. So I got Inuyasha, a feudal fairy tale. It's a decent fighter. It's mediocre. It's nothing special, but it is interesting, and it's fun to play if you're a fan of the series. And last but not least is the spiritual successor, the sequel to one of those famous RPGs that everybody seems to love. I didn't much care for its predecessor, but this game I remember renting when I used to, stay at my grandma's or visiting or whatnot. We used to rent it from a Martin supermarket when they used to do video game and movie rentals. I don't know if they still do it, but it's Chrono Cross. I remember playing it as a teenager, getting stuck on links, and eventually having to return the game. So I just got this a couple years ago, and I'm glad to have been able to finish it. And actually, I prefer this game to Chrono Trigger. I don't know if it's the atmosphere, or the characters, or what it is, but I prefer it. It's a good game. It's one of my favorite RPGs. The story's a bit weak, but it's still good. That's it. I would like to get my hands on Vagrant Story, as I heard is another one of those really good RPGs that I kind of missed out on. But it's going to depend on if I can find a good copy of the game used, just like Brave Fencer Musashi, and just like I did with Eiko, I'm sorry. Who knows? I would still like to get my hands on Air Guys. It's a game I remember playing years back. But I find myself going back and trying to get older PS1 games that I had played or wanted to play, and maybe in the future I'll have more to show you. But who knows? I'm done. See you guys later.